Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Denny's Auto. Today I am doing front wheel bearings in seal in 2002 Nissan Pathfinder. Now these here don't have your typical front wheel bearings like the newer cars do, that is one unit, you either bolt them on or press them in. These have the old school bearings with the seal and a race. Now, I already got it torn apart, but I was kind of busy and forgot about recording, so but I'm going to record it putting back together. First thing you do is I got the whole inside cleaned out. I mean, it's nice and shiny, nice and clean, got all that old grease out. I inspected the race, and this race is in really, really good shape. I mean, it is pretty much perfect. So I'm not putting a race in. That'll save them some money, and I'll send that back. But first things first is, I think the new tub of grease here, is we're going to pack the wheel bearing. Now, I know nowadays there's a lot of tools out there that you can pack bearings with, bearing buddies and all this stuff. You can pack them. Me, I do it old school. It's the way I was taught. It's the way I was raised. So, what you do, you get some grease, like this. You should have it in the palm of your hand, but this is the way I do it. And what you do is you take your grease, and you take your bearing, and you push it in from like the back. Now, if you look right here, right in between there, you could see grease in there. Right there, you can see it. Right there. It's pushing the grease into the bearing. And that's how I do wheel bearings. I pack them by hand the old school way. It's messy, very messy, but believe it or not, them bearing buddies tools, I've tried one. I actually have one here. And I don't like them. I don't. Because the one I have, I don't know if there's any better ones on the market, but I just bought a cheap one. Because I wanted to try it before I spent big money on it. So I tried it and I didn't like it because as you put the grease in, you got to keep taking it back out to check and see if the grease is pushed in. And now you can see down in that ridge, there's grease coming out in between the ridge. That's how you do it. Just keep pushing it in. Like I said, it's messy. But this is the way I like doing it. This is the way I was taught to pack a wheel bearing. So that's the way I do it. I mean, you could use a bearing buddy or a bearing packer, whatever they freaking call them now. I don't know. You can use them if you like them. But like I said, I don't. I don't like them. This is just really, really messy. I mean, it does take a while and gets rough on your hands cramp and everything else, but like I said, each to their own. Okay, now look in there, you can see the whole ways around in there there's grease spitting out, which tells you that bearing is good. It is good and packed. Put some on the outside, and we're going to put some on the inside. Just for double measure. to make sure we got enough. All right. Now, you got to watch if you take these apart. For the simple reason, the bearings, the outer bearing and the inner bearing, which the outer would be the front bearing, the inner bearing would be the back bearing. They are different sized. There we go. Shove that down in there. Scrape this grease off. Let me get my hands wiped. And then I got to pack the other bearing, but first I'm going to put this seal in. Drive this seal in here and get it in. If I could get the grease off my fingers and my hand. And after I'm all done here, I'll wash my hands before I start putting it back together. And as you can see, there's plenty and plenty and plenty of grease in there. And this is high temperature wheel bearing grease. Yeah, it was clicking. The bearing, the inner bearing don't look bad. It's the outer bearing. It's kind of boogered up a little bit. And then here's your inner seal. This part with the rubber faces out. It goes in. There's the inside. It goes in just like this. That's how it goes in. Now, let's just tap this along the edge and try and get it started evenly. Hopefully that spring don't fall out. Okay, now, and I have seal drivers. I have a whole set of them, but I like doing it this way. So it's nice and loud. You can hear it when it hits bottom. There we go. Spread this grease down in there. Just gotta watch you don't damage this rubber, because if you damage it, then the seals jump. And you gotta get another seal. She's down in there. We're gonna make sure she's on the bottom. We're going to use a screwdriver upside down. Oh yeah, she's nice and solid. Come on. Got grease on it now. Slippy. Okay, she's in there. That's one. Alright. Flip it over. And we'll do the outer bearing. What'd I do with it? That's the old one. I mean, it has a few marks on it, but nothing bad. Nope, that ain't it. I just had it. How can you lose a bearing? Oh, there it is. Still in the package. And there's the front one. And here's, let me find the old inner bearing. That's the outer. What did I do with the old inner? I'll show you the difference. The inner one's way bigger. That's over here. I set it over here. You can see the difference. I mean, it's way bigger. So, get some more grease. Put it in the palm of our hand. There we go, like that. We've got some grease showing through, so she's packed. Ah! Got stuck on me. Okay. Definitely a messy job, but takes a little bit, but it'll go in, it'll work. Get some more grease here. I'm just going to keep packing away. So how's everybody's Christmas? Pretty good? Mine was pretty good. Was off work, sat around, ate a good bit, and did a whole lot of nothing. Which is rare for me, because I usually don't sit around and do nothing. I'm always doing something, so. Like today, got off of work, come home. Figured I'd do this. Let's pack this in here with some grease. Get her good and greased up. Alrighty, and we'll set this wheel bearing in. Now, the front does not have a sill. The back does, but the front don't. Okay. Yeah, I would have replaced that race, but that race in here looked good. There was no scarring, no marring, no grooves, no dimples, no nothing in it. That race looks really good. I think the main thing is the inner bolt that holds these on was loose. It worked loose, and from driving it, it just wore the outer bearing out. Okay, now clean off my turbo grease. Turbo grease. All right, I'm going to carry Yins over and put Yins by the car or the truck. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to get the rotor. Hopefully Yins can see. I'm going to try. Let's see. Let's get you up here where you can see. There we go. Put your back down just a little. There we go. Hopefully I don't get in your way. If I do, just tell me to move. I'll move. And then the rotor slides on. It just slides right over. Just be careful you don't hit and damage that seal when you're putting it on. Slide it straight on. Just like that. Then you have this thing. It's kind of like a nut. Has holes in it. And these holes that are in it are threaded. Because you have a plate that goes over this. That screws onto this. Now comes the fun part, trying to get this started. Yeah, I figured this would be fun. I'm just using a pick. Putting the pick in the hole, and I don't think it's even starting. Nope, ain't even starting. I need to get a rag. Hold on, guys. Let me get a rag. Okay. Okay. Now let's see if we can get it started. Okay. Yeah, it started, but it was cross-threading. Gotta be careful. There it goes. There we go. We got her now. And this is how I tighten it. Just with a pick. Put a pick in there until it starts getting tight. Then what we're going to do is we're going to see how tight we could get it with two picks. Pick in this hole and a pick in this hole. Come on. There we go. It takes a little time, but it'll work. So did everybody get what they wanted from Santa Claus? This backing plate's rubbing. Gonna have to straighten that out too, but I gotta put an inner tie rod end on this side and a lower ball joint on the other side yet. Okay. Let's make sure she's not loose. And then you don't want to tighten it to the point where it's hard to turn. You don't want to do that. I mean, it's got to be tight, but not super, super tight. So I'm trying to get these picks in here to grab a hold of this. There we go. There we go. That's pretty good. Let me move this thing back. Okay. Now, you have this thing. It's like a plate, and it goes on here. And there's only one way it'll go, well, it'll actually go on two ways. There is like cutouts in this. And it slides over it. Did I put that on backwards? I bet you I did. I bet you I put that baby on backwards. No, okay, I see them. Way down in here. Right there. Okay, now, get that plate on, and then you have two little screws that go in, one on each side, to hold this in. There's one. And it don't really matter what holes. All these holes are threaded. So it doesn't matter which two you put it in. Just make sure they're across from each other. Because what this does is this locks that plate to that nut, and that plate sits in a groove. And then it won't back itself off and loosen itself. So that's what that does. Okay, now, we've got to put these bolts back in. Get this lined up. We're just going to do two to get it pulled in and get it started. And I'm going to do it by hand with a ratchet before I use a gun to make sure that they're not cross-threaded and everything's lining up. And I believe these are 14. Yes, they are. Okay, so let's get these started. And they're going in really easy, so I know I didn't cross-thread them because they're going in easy. Let's get this side to pull in. Because this rotor is like a two-piece rotor. This hub separates from it. Okay, there's that one. There's that one. There we go. She's nice and solid and good. Alright, now let's put the rest of these bad boys in. And one of them's missing a washer. So I have an extra washer laying here. So one of them I put in doesn't have a washer, see? Got to take that one back out. One of them two. Which ones, I don't know. Then after we're all done here, we're going to spray and clean this rotor off with some brake cleaner. Get all that grease off of it. Let's take this one back out. Yeah, use that socket. Go ahead. One that's about 20 times too big, huh? And it was this one. I believe these get torqued to 45 foot-pounds. I got to look up, but I'm pretty sure it's 45. chain, my hose is all curled here. We're just gonna, whoa. Real easy. Okay. All right, there we go. That's done. Now, and then I'm gonna let me go get some brake clean and some more grease here, guys. Then I shall return. Then you got to put the outside hub on. Oh boy. What we're going to do here is I'm going to do it the old school way. We're just going to take a screwdriver, pack some grease in there. Not a lot, just a little. There's plenty of grease in there, but I just want to add a little more, just to make sure. Last thing I want is him going down the highway at 70 or 80 mile an hour, depending on how fast he drives, because the speed limit around here is only up around here 35, but on our highways is mostly 65. Some places are 70, but not too many. Okay, let's clean this grease off of here. All right, now this hub. And after this hub goes on, you have a retaining ring that goes on to keep us all together. And that slides on, and then you got some nuts that goes on. Okay. This needs tickled back just a little bit. That snap ring groove is not showing. Well, let's put the nuts on and tighten it up. That should draw it in. Now these I'm not going to use an impact on because they're too small. I mean, I have a cordless impacts, but they're over there. That means I would have to get up and walk, and I'm honest with you, I'm too damn lazy. I ain't getting up and walking. And these, I believe, are 13. Where's my socket? Or they might be for, nope, they're 13. And we're just going to tighten them all by hand here. Okay. And then once this is on, then all you got to do is, here's the snap ring. The snap ring goes over this like this in this groove right here. And once that's on, put your brakes on, and that's it. You're done. Pretty easy. Pretty simple, easy job. And then this cap. The cap goes on over this. And that's all there is to it. It's done. But, nope, looks like another person just pulled in here, another customer, so. Alright guys, I'll probably make a video on the other side when I do the ball joint. So, for now, that's going to be it. I got to go out here and talk to this customer. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, if you don't do it right, it's not worth doing. Have a good day.